paddock here that we got permission on. See if we can find a fallow. We're in between hunters, so there was hunters here all Easter weekend, and there's going to be hunters here on Saturday, so we're lucky enough that they let us slip in between. But we'll see what we can turn up in an afternoon and morning. Very dry, and it is still early April, so I've found they really get going around about 17th, 20th in here. So sitting and listening is probably not going to be the best way to get onto a buck. We know where a couple of big rut scrapes are, communal ones, and buck rut pads and stuff like that, so we might just sneak into there and try some rattling. They should be fired up enough to come into a rattle, so that'll be kind of cool to be able to catch that on camera, so that's what we're going to try and do. But yeah, stick with us. We got a short, sharp fallow hunt on the cards here. See what we can do. The real reason I bring Emmett along. The way the wind is, and where the bucks were running pretty good last year, we've had to sort of come around the other side of the hill, and we're going to circle around and just work our way into the breeze, set up into some nice spots where we can see a bit, give a bit of a rattle, and then just wait, and then we'll just hunt through into the good stuff into the afternoon where we can see a little bit more, and we'll sit and use the binos, have a listen. But yeah, that's the plan for the afternoon anyway. Wind's a bit different here, but anyway. So on this property, fallow deer are you know, the main ones you're after, but there is the odd sambar. I've seen a few sambar here. Pigs, I've seen one really big boar and a bunch of sort of half grown things, and wild dogs. But because it's sheep country, if we see a dog, it's got to go. But then we can sort of pick between the other three what we sort of choose to hunt. But I find it very difficult not to shoot a pig, considering I'm from Victoria and you don't get a hell of a lot of chances to shoot pigs. So if we see a pig, that's what we'll go for. If we see a sambar, maybe we'll shoot a sambar. Fallow are what we really came all this way for, but yeah, I haven't been here for 12 months. Every year I seem to come here, it gets a little less appealing, but this in behind me used to be awesome hunting. It used to be quite thick, and wattles and stuff, and they'd be all croaking and grunting and that in there. But they had a big machine in there and cleaned it all up. And now there's just nothing. But we'll go over the other side here to where the creek is, and on the other side is a national park, so naturally you get those deer filtering out to the private. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what we can find, Emmett? Yeah. Well, we think the deer are going to be over there. So what we're doing is we're just staying this side of a little spur. We're way out in the open, so if something can see us, direct line of sight, they'll see us from a long way. So we're staying on this side of the spur to hide our movement. If you go walk along that spur, you'll stand out like a sore thumb. So we're staying on this side, and we're going to work our way down to the bush edge, and then that'll give us a real good crosswind, if not a little bit in our favour. So yeah, be mindful about where you walk, especially in this open country chasing fallow. They've got pretty keen eyesight. They'll pick you up, they'll be gone. The other thing is too, sometimes they bed, you know, right on the edge of the bush or just under some trees. Like, they're not way back in the forest kind of deer unless they've been hammered, which these guys have. But anyway, that's what our plan is. you got kids with you, you got to stop every now and again just for a break. You don't want to wear them out. I find if you give them a break every now and again, you can go a lot further. Don't let them carry too much either. I'm carrying everything except the bino. I've got a kangaroo out over here, so we've got in here quite enough. We've got the wind right now. Just got to let the shadows get a bit longer, and then we'll move in a little bit closer. What'd you say? Nothing. See there, Emmett? That's where he's starting to make a scrape. That was pretty cool. We just came over a little rise, and I saw that buck, and I didn't call or anything. He was mucking around, a bit ruddy, and he came straight into us. And then he tried to circle around on us to get our scent, but I think eventually he cut our walking marks. We're just going to wait for that sun to dip below the ridge. Sneak in a little bit and have a bit of a rattle. We're right in the hot seat here. There'll be deer in here for sure. The next 2 or 3 gullies are just dynamite. just walked into that rut pad, perfect timing, had the wind in our face, and we actually bumped that same small buck that we put up earlier. So obviously we let him go, and then we were just walking through and had a look at that big rut pad and pushed up the gully, but the wind's wrong. And I had about 4 or 5 hinds burst out. Anyway, so we came out in the clear just in case a buck followed, and he did, and he was probably a shooter, but he just crested the hill 30 degrees different to the hinds. We had to come out with the hinds where we had a chance. Anyway, we're going to zip up there and see if we can catch him on the other side. What just happened then, mate?
We saw Samba.
Amber stag, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we played cat and mouse with him for, I don't know, half a k to 700 metres. Had him under a tree. I thought he might have hung under the tree for a bit, but anyway, it was only about 50 metres away from us there.
Yeah.
And then he dropped into this gully, so we punched it in, and just as he got to the bush line, I thought he might have pulled up, but he didn't, did he? He just tucked his head and slipped into the bush there. Anyway, that was a bit of fun. Now I've got to go back and get my backpack all that way. This will be a fair old test for Emmett. I've just left him back there. I've got to run back, 500 metres or so to get my backpack and that, because we need to keep going that way, and he's worn out, so I didn't want to have to bring him back and then back again. But this is where confidence in the bush starts. Hopefully he feels comfortable enough to be left there for 10 minutes. It's not quite dark yet, so good little test for him anyway. Tell you what, we're pretty well roughing it this time. We're basically in the middle of a paddock, semi-flat spot. Back the ute in to block the wind, and yeah, I'm just going to have a cook up and go to bed. You can, mate, yeah. You hungry? Yeah. Righto. Yeah, she's pretty basic tea tonight, but you can't beat loin chops and a bit of continental pasta. Old school. Well, we're just going to chow down on this and jump in the sack. Haven't heard any croaking, but chops have been sizzling, so I won't probably hear anything anyway until we jump into bed. Hopefully we can hear something croaking tonight. Anyway, had a pretty eventful afternoon, really. Pretty happy with that. See what we can find in the morning. Have a go with this. Brekkie in bed, or tea in bed. Hey? Getting looked after. Alright, I'll sit out here and eat mine and then I'll climb in there with you. Had a fair bit of rain overnight. So it's quite damp on the ground. Didn't hear any bucks croaking. But we're up well before daylight. Finished breakfast and the air's kind of moving wrong. But that's just the thermal, I think. So. Oh, he's tiny. Has lifted. Now we've got deer in the gully just here. We've got that big mob down there with that small buck. We're going to try and sneak in and take one for meat. We're at about 325 yards now. We should be able to get within 200. I haven't heard anything. If that small buck's holding a dozen hinds. Big buck is, I don't know where he is. We saw a big buck yesterday. Anyway, we'll sneak in there and see how we go. You see its shoulder? Hang on, here we go. It's going to turn onto it. Right, you can see its shoulder now. See where it's... You can't see its front legs, right? Dot on its shoulder. Yeah, hold right to it. Me. Oh. Legs are up in the air. I reckon. How far is it? well, we've just broken the silence of the morning. But, you know, it's not always about shooting the big buck. There's definitely still big bucks here, but, you know, for the amount of time we've got, I wanted to get some meat. So we snuck into 209, and I think the shot ended up being only just over 100 and, I don't know. What's that tree from here, what you reckon? I reckon it's not very far. 120, so yeah, 325 we spotted that mob at, and we snuck into 209 if they had stayed where they were, but the fog drifted in, and so we sort of got set up, but then we noticed they were all barreling past, so, and sort of checked the wind, and our air had gone in there, so, but luckily for us, there must have been a little pocket down in the gully there that our scent wasn't getting to, and there was a hind, and that young black buck was down in there as well. And it turns out there was a bunch of other deer in there too, because, yeah, so we got a deer legs up, missed the kill shot. It was just moving too much. Anyway, we had to concentrate on getting the deer and not getting the footage. Unfortunate for you guys, but fortunately for us, we've got an esky full of prime venison coming home with us, eh?
Yeah.
So, and we can probably get the ute pretty close here, which is cool. So we'll go down there, rip guts out of it, and yeah, and we'll make our way back to camp and grab the ute and pack up and come down and pick up the deer. Now, I know it was only a pretty close shot, but if you're ever in need of a rear rest and you don't carry one, the old bino harness here. Now, I just shoved my neoprene camera case in there. I took the binos out. You can leave the binos in there, but I was sort of using them. But yeah, I stuffed this in the case, and that's what we use for a rear rest. Gets you nice and solid. And you don't have to carry something that you're only going to use every so often. I've used it a couple of times now, and it works really well. Rightio, so pretty quick trip. We've got mum and brother back in camp waiting for us, so you know we're really scratching for time. And anyway, we had a really good hunt yesterday afternoon, didn't we? Really, like,
yeah.
Got in amongst them, played with that little buck for a little bit, and blew that bigger buck out just the gully over. He'd be in here somewhere. And then we played with that young sambar stag just before dark, didn't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, we just camped in the paddock, just rolled out the swag in the middle of nowhere basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You'll be surprised when we get back where we are, but yeah, perfect shot, slightly quartering on, but yeah, she went legs up, missed the kill shot, but anyway, she'd moved quite a fair way from where I set up the camera, and yeah, anyway, that happens. But this morning, yeah, we come in around through the paddock, and it's always hard from the paddock. The last few years, I've camped down in the bush and come up through the bush, and I always find it better to be coming up from the bush to the paddock rather than from the paddock to the bush. The deer are always looking for that danger out in the paddock, and you got a lot more kangaroos out there, so we bumped a couple of kangaroos this morning, didn't we? But anyway, we got the job done. We spotted this group of deer at 325 yards, I think. And
Yeah.
we did the old belly crawl through all this wet grass. It's not only wet from the rain last night, but it's really foggy and dewy this morning, so we're all wet, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, Emmett's looking forward to a change of clothes, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this deer in the freezer and get all the meat from it. And because it's such a nice young doe, I'll be able to get it. I've only got to take it to that fence there, and I can get the ute, so I'll be able to get the whole animal out. I won't take it home whole, but I'll remove it from this area so that it doesn't stink it up for the next lot of hunters. But yeah, it just means that we can get 100% of the usable meat out of this thing. Looks like the shot's gone in just behind the shoulder and come out about midway, so I don't think we've lost any of the front shoulder. And yeah, so we've missed the spine, so we've got all the back strap and eye fillet.
both back legs. Yeah, so I'm going to try and grab some ribs too. I think on the front side here, we should be able to get some ribs, which would be good. But yeah, anyway, we did the full belly crawl, didn't we? Closed it into about 200 yards, and then the deer actually fed towards us. So the shot was only 120 yards in the end. But the old 6.5 Creedmoor, the 143 grain ELDX, absolutely smoked there, didn't it? Yeah. So anyway, we'll get on to doing some knife work, and then we better get back to the caravan park and continue with the family holiday. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Jindabyne 2024. Boom. Will I fit through there? No. I'll have to go over, will I? Little people can crawl through pop holes. Tall people can get over the fence like that. So I'm just using the Zoe zipper from Rana and Blades to skin this little fallow. What I've done is I've left the back straps and the eye fillets on the backbone. I've also got the pelvis, but you don't need that. But anyway, that's how I'm going to age it, and that was a trick from Mark LeBroy, that the chef I worked with there on the SBS food show. Was a good way of aging your meat to reduce wastage from fridge burn, was to keep it on the bone. That way when you do peel it off eventually, you don't have to trim up any of that other side. These Argali meat bags are awesome. Get your hands on a set of these. So that hind all boned out. Now we did lose one shoulder, and I didn't get any ribs because they were all messed up. That's it. 15 kilos maybe. 8. So there's not a lot of meat, so it'll all fit in my 40 litre Engel fridge, no dramas. And that's where I'm going to age it while we're still on holidays. Righto, that's probably the fallow rut for 2024 done for us.
Yeah.
I got a bit going on, so we've got duck opening next week. Then I got a client, and then I'm into it. So the chances of getting back here are super slim. Anyway, we had a bit of a go, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did the best we could with what time we had. Got some prime venison there. Can't wait to do a few cook-ups of that. That'll be on Patreon. If you haven't checked out Patreon, you really should do it. Bunch of my patrons there. I've got a community chat forum going on there, and they're sharing recipes and all sorts of things and how they go about different things with all the wild game that they get. So if that sort of stuff interests you, jump over to Patreon, join up. There's a heap of different levels there that you can jump on. The cheapest is $5 a month. But any support you can give the channel is appreciated. We'll keep doing what we're doing. So don't forget, I've got a website for all my guided hunting and hunter education weekends. www.zebrashunting.com. Jump onto the website there, it's got a heap of information. And if you've got any queries, there's a contact form there. Send a message. Anyway, we're going to get back to camp. Apparently there's a whole heap of rain coming up, 100 mil over the weekend. So we're going to have to find some indoor activities. I think we've found the best of the weather there. We'll see you on the next one.